For the good of your party and the country, just go. Kevin Rudd calls for Malcolm Turnbull to quit, but John Howard throws his support behind the PM and urges people to take a cold bath and calm down. Kevin Rudd has called for Malcolm Turnbull to quit at the same time his predecessor John Howard has given the Prime Minister his unqualified support. Mr Rudd's comments come just hours after New South Wales Deputy Premier John Barilaro said Mr Turnbull must step down. Mr Howard called for an end to the madness plaguing the coalition, and pledged his unqualified support for Mr Turnbull. People should take a cold bath and calm down, Mr Howard told the Weekend Australian. I continue to support Malcolm Turnbull very strongly. The best option for the Liberal Party is to help make Turnbull's leadership work and succeed. Speaking at a Sydney fundraiser for Labour frontbencher Anthony Albanese, Mr Rudd expressed the opposite opinion, What Today reported. Malcolm, for the good of your party and the country, just go. Let the others sort out who should replace you, said Mr Rudd. The former Prime Minister was scathing when speaking of Mr Turnbull before the gathering of Labour supporters, saying he would get smashed at the next election. Turnbull is neither fish nor fowl, said Mr Rudd. Turnbull is just Turnbull, standing for nothing apart from Malcolm himself, a profound disappointment to his party, which has now become a little more than a bad joke, just being there. Earlier on Friday John Barilaro called on Mr Turnbull to quit as Prime Minister before Christmas. The state's Nationals leader said he had lost all hope in Mr Turnbull, describing him as out of touch and the reason the federal government is in disarray. Turnbull is the problem. The Prime Minister is the problem. He should step down and allow for a clean-out of what the leadership looks like federally, Mr Barilaro told Alan Jones on Cindy's 2GB radio on Friday. Whoever takes the reins going forward needs to make sure that they put the country and its people first. Mr Turnbull's claim the Queensland election was not affected by federal issues was a joke and comments like that showed a lack of leadership, he said. You've got a party in disarray, a coalition government in disarray and a community not unified, and that is all at the feet of the Prime Minister of Australia, Mr Barilaro said. My view is Turnbull should give Australians a Christmas gift and go before Christmas. Mr Barilaro said he wasn't speaking out to endorse Labour leader Bill Shorten, but because Australians were desperate for leadership. Mr Turnbull brushed off the comments and denied his time was running out. He suggested the Deputy Premier made those comments to ingratiate himself with Jones and to tell him what he wants to hear. If that was a serious view he held, you would think he would speak to me directly. Wouldn't you? He told Neil Mitchell on Melbourne's 3 Radio. If I had a view about a state leader of that kind, I would express it, if I expressed it at all, privately and face to face, I wouldn't be bagging them in the media like that. The Prime Minister said Mr Barilaro had made similar comments a little while ago and that he called him and left a message about it, but didn't get a call back. He's got my number, he can call me anytime. I'd be delighted to have a chat to him. Cabinet Minister Matthias Cormann labelled Mr Barilaro's comments very unhelpful. Obviously it would have been better if he hadn't, he told Sky News. Mr Barilaro's boss, Gladys Berejiklian, agreed with Mr Turnbull and hung him out to dry on Friday morning. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has my full and absolute support, the NSW Premier said in a statement. Mr Barilaro has expressed a personal view which I do not share. Mr Barilaro is well aware of my position. Ms Berejiklian said she looked forward to working with the Turnbull government to deliver better quality lives for the people of NSW.